Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Mike's Talks and Thoughts here, back in with another video for you guys. And today we are here with the Mayans MC Season 5 review here. So as you guys have seen on my channel, I have covered all of Mayans MC Season 5. And I did mention that I would be coming out with a review for you guys on the season as a whole. So with this video here, we're actually going to be referencing back to one of my earlier videos that I made before Mayans Season 5 came out, and that was 10 things I wanted to see from Mayans Season 5. So we'll see how my thoughts compared to what actually happened in the show, kind of compare and contrast, see what they did right, what they did wrong, and just give you an overall review of the season itself. So yeah, there is going to be spoilers here for Mayans Season 5. So if you've not seen through Mayans Season 5 here, definitely give that a watch and come back to this video once you have seen it. But if you have seen it, let's jump right in here to the review. So the first point that I made in my video of 10 things I wanted to see from Mayans Season 5 was to wrap up the SOA war here. And this was something that I think was going in the right direction at first, and then they just kind of dropped the ball at the end. Like I said, I thought that they should have wrapped this up somewhere in the midpoint. That's why I kind of said in my video that they should have wrapped this up earlier so that they could have a lot more time to grow and develop the Mayans as an actual group, because of course this is their show. But they wait until the final episode here, and then the conclusion we get, not as satisfying as I'd like to see. Not in the fact that the Mayans won the war. I think that was a lot of people's prediction that the Mayans were going to come up on top of Sam Dino, but just the way that the final fight between them seemed like SOA was all out of fight, and Easy just takes out Isaac really easily. No real big battle. They try and make it seem like a big battle, which at first it was cool seeing them come in charge SOA like that, but in the end it just fell a little flat. And I definitely feel like there was a lot of good points in this season for the war, especially episode 5 when they had that confrontation where the Grim Bastards get them both together in the room. That was epic. That was an epic moment. And the retaliation back and forth was interesting to see. I still think Isaac was a great antagonist for the season, even though he had a little bit of hiccups towards the end. But yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on the first point. The second point here from my video was giving Marcus Alvarez a proper send-off. And one thing that I was, worried about possibly was them killing him off for shock value, which I am super glad they did not do that. And in this case, I actually think Marcus, along with Angel, probably got the best send-off of anyone in the finale. So I think they did Marcus really good. He really wasn't involved at all this season. He maybe had 10 minutes of screen time, if that. It seemed like he was never on. So Marcus really wasn't featured at all in this season. But we've seen his time with the Mayans. We know how he rolls. And glad to see, he is getting another son here. And hopefully he can just, live out his life and prosper here. So I'm just glad that they kind of gave him one of the better conclusions of the story here. The third point here was focusing on all the Mayans members, and I think that did some good job at that with Angel and his family, which took a lot of the focal point. Of course, Easy here. They definitely gave some time for Bishop and Gilly and Hank and developing them, but I think it could have been a little bit stronger. I really do. I think that they could have given him a little bit more screen time. Like I said, they put so much into the SOA war that it felt like it was a little bit detracting from how the Mayans were as characters and giving them proper developments and send-offs here, which is why a lot of people in the finale here weren't too crazy about all the other send-offs of the minor characters here in the show for the Mayans. So something that they did all right in Season 5, could have been better, also could have been a lot worse. For the next point here at number 4 was, of course, Bishop going out like a badass. And that really didn't happen in this sense. So Bishop here was someone who they teased for multiple seasons that he could be killed off on the show. That Easy was going to be the new leader here, the new president, but Bishop, man, he stayed all the way until the end. Again, I feel like his role each season kind of got diminished more and more. It seemed like he became more of a background and an afterthought character as the seasons went on. But here, we don't really get to see, like I said, if Bishop lives or dies because of the way they did the final scene with Potter and them rating them ATF. You hear gunshots. They never show if they all got killed, if some of them got killed, if all of them just got locked up. So we don't really know, but again, after just the sour taste that I think it left in everyone's mouth with the way they did Easy, and the club just jumping to such conclusions, I really don't think that they did Bishop too much justice here in his send-off, and that was a little bit disappointing to see. But even more disappointing was my number 5 point was giving Galindo a nice wrap up here, and Emily taking him out. I knew I could see it coming because they've kind of gone back and forth ever since I think season 2 or at least season 3 of these two just butting heads, and Miguel tried to kill Emily at first back in, I believe it was the season 3 finale, and then Emily was on the run all of season 4, and then season 5 here, she tries to manipulate one of the workers that Miguel has here, and with the camera placements in the house and trying to escape here. And Emily was easily one of the least liked characters on the show, so her sort of taking Miguel out like that was kind of crazy. And we did get to see Miguel and Felipe have a little bit more bonding this season, which I liked because the big reveal was, of course, that Miguel is Felipe's son here, and I thought they were going to expand on that a little bit more here, and they do talk about it and they have conversations about it. But does Miguel ever feel like a brother to Easy or Angel? Never really at all. They're still pretty much on bad terms, I would say, or not friends. So the way they did Miguel, kind of iffy, not really the craziest on how they did him this season. And that brings me to the 6th point, which I've been talking about Felipe. Now, don't forget about Felipe. So, well, they didn't forget about him. I mean, they wrote, him dying in the show, of course, and him playing such a big role in Easy and Angel, especially Angel, of course, wanting to leave the club. And going out, he was the one, I would say, that went out kind of more like a badass, protecting his grandkid here, which was cool for Felipe. But again, until that moment hit in episode 9, he was kind of an afterthought all season. He had conversations with Adelita and Angel, but other than that, not much that he did all season. I believe his butcher shop was basically closed throughout the whole time. I never saw him in there. And that was such a vital point and place for the characters to meet up and talk all those years that Mayans was on. So sad to see here that Felipe didn't really get a lot of justice here, but at least they didn't forget about him. They wrote an arc for him, and they took it in a direction here at the end of the story here. Next here for point number 7 was Easy's impact. Easy just having an impact on the Mayans and then moving forward. I said that he did not have to go out like Jax. Didn't necessarily go out like Jax, sacrificing himself for the club, but the club sort of sacrificed him. It was kind of like a backwards Jax where, Jax sort of sacrificed himself for the good of the club, while the club said, fuck you, Easy, you're going fucking down. So that's how they did Easy this season. And, he definitely had some impact. And one thing that I did enjoy was, of course, Angel and Easy's conversation on the bridge and him saying how, you won the Mayans War. You did something that Bishop or Alvarez couldn't do for us. You put us on top. And you definitely felt Easy's impact in that way, and trying to be a stout leader here when he stands up to that, the biggest guy that SOA has in that episode 5 with the fight, and just going head on with Isaac here. So he definitely takes a leadership role and tries to be impactful here for the club. But in the end, what did he really cause other than, of course, mass destruction here? Point number 8 here was to not address any new plot lines or major characters in the story here, as we had a lot to focus on with SOA and the Mayans here. And I think they actually did a decent job at this because, they really kept the SOA war going on throughout the whole season here. And we do get introduced to a few new characters here, like the woman MC that, of course, they were dealing with, the prison group running drugs for them. But other than that, we really don't get any new introductions here. It's mainly the Mayans, you have the cartel, and some side characters here or there. You have, of course, Adelita, Letty, Hope, and then, of course, SOA as well. So those were easily the main players here in this season. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't do anything extravagant or pull something out of their ass to kind of come out of nowhere with a new character or a new plot line here for the story. Number 9 here was, how were Angel and Adelita going to progress moving forward? I will say I was not a big fan of Adelita'S Death. I think they could have done it a lot better. Minnie here, of course, is the one who takes her out, and they've been through so much, but it felt so not right. If I could say, just her taking Adelita out and Angel basically being left on, MIA. He was left in the dust. Gets no reaction. He just knows she's gone. So it was sad to see that, but I loved Angel's conclusion. He had my favorite conclusion in the show here, with him taking Maverick out and, of course, leaving the Mayans and having that sort of good ending, man. With such a crazy, hectic universe, it's tough to have a really solid, happy ending. But I think they did such a great job. Angel had the best character development from season 1 to season 5, and they gave him such a good write-off and keeping Maverick safe here. I was so glad to see here Angel get his justice here, and like I said, probably turn into my favorite character, him and Alvarez of Mayans MC here. And then the last plot point here, or the last point that I had in my video for things I wanted to see out of season 5 of Mayans, was have a bookend for the show while also leaving it open for spin-offs. And I actually think they implemented this as well as they could have. Did it end on a good note? There was parts of the finale I liked, other parts I didn't. Like I said in my review once I finished the episode live, I had a lot of mixed feelings. I did not like the whole Potter situation, him winning in the end. That dude should have been killed. If anyone in the finale should have been killed, it should have been Potter, because that guy has been such a pain since SOA season 4. But as I said, Angel's conclusion was amazing. The final scene of Angel and Maverick was incredible here, and do I think it was a good bookend? Like I said, finale-wise, I'm not sure, but it definitely did give us a bookend, because I feel like we have already explored SOA so much, and the Mayans with their charter either being in jail or killed here at the end by Potter kind of wraps everything up, I guess, to where they don't really have much to do going forward. And the Wendy cameo from episode number 9 is what kind of leaves the door open for spinoffs here. The Abel and Thomas spinoff had been talked about for many years, even since SOA has ended. The first 9 and the Abel and Thomas shows have kind of been the 2 ones that they have been talking about. So we get to see Wendy here and her kind of introducing them and saying how they ride dirt bikes, and possibly their reintroduction into SOA, or them forming a club or something like that. So it definitely leaves the door open in that aspect. But also, we do have a bookend to the universe, I feel like, if they want to just leave it as Sons of Anarchy and Mayans MC. But overall here for the season, it wasn't one of my favorites. It also wasn't absolutely terrible. Like I said in my reviews, most of the episodes were like a 7.5 to an 8. They were good, not great. That's kind of like what I rate as like a good to great, like between a 7 and an 8. You're doing good, but you're not, blowing me away or giving this, otherworldly season. And I think honestly, season 4 and 5 are pretty much on par with each other. I might have preferred season 5. I think that they had better peaks in season 5, but season 4 might have been a little bit more consistent. So yeah, take that as it is. But yeah, I think that's going to do it here for the Mayans review. Just kind of my thoughts and all of the characters and kind of what I think on the show here. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of Mayans season 5 here, and what you would change, what you liked about it, what you didn't like. And of course, tell me about the finale. I heard so many mixed reactions. My really good friend here, Dev, he hated the finale. He thought it was one of the worst finales ever made. And then I had some people on Twitter talking about how this was one of the greatest finales ever made. I was sort of in between the two camps here. But yeah, let me know what you think here. And stay tuned for more Mayans videos as well as other TV related content in the future. So yeah, that's going to do, everyone. Take care and peace out.